I love the Mini. Just the atmosphere is incredible. Being one of like 11,000 women racing is just really special.
And with Lady Liberty looking on, we bring you inside New York City's Central Park, the iconic Bethesda Fountain. The figure atop was designed by a woman because today it's all about the women, 9,000 of them. As we take you here to the start, we're about to see the women lining up to start the Mastercard 2024 New York Mini 10K in just moments. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sam Ryan. As we talk about this historic race, this is the 52nd running of the New York Mini 10K. It all started, we go back to 1972. That's when they called it the Crazy Legs Mini Marathon. Only 72 women finished that race today. 9,000 expected to run and finish it today. Oh, we have a star-studded field of pro athletes as well. 4 past champions towing the start line today here in Central Park. The lineup also includes 3 Paris 2024 Olympians. We will talk about them in just a bit. And 6 of the top 10 U.S. marathoners from the Olympic trials, as we are excited to get this started. And I am joined by my colleagues, Carrie Tollefson, NCAA champion and an Olympian, and Jackie Moore, who's a 6-star finisher, a marathoner, and I know you are a running advocate as well. So much excitement here today. We talked about the past champions. Let's talk about the 2-time defending champ who is here today, Jackie.
That's correct. We have Semberi Teferi, the 2-time defending champion, going for the 3-peat today. She's a very gritty racer. Watch out for the kick in last year. It was a very exciting final 200. I'm excited to see her.
That finish says it all as you take a look at Semberi Teferi. Also, we have someone else who we're quite familiar with who won this race twice, Carrie.
Yeah, she is a 2-time Mini champion, and she also has won 10 U.S. championships on the roads and on the track. This woman can run anything from the mile all the way up to 26.2, the marathon. She brought her sister-in-law with her. She's so excited to be here.
As Sarah Hall keeping it in the family today. Don't forget about Sharon Licchetti. Now, Sharon Licchetti, she came here last year. She was the runner-up, but prior to that, in 2022, so much excitement as she was the top finisher for the TCS New York City Marathon, and that was in her marathon debut. Who else can we look for?
Oh, let's talk about Edna, 2012 champion, still crushing it at age 44, so proving that age is nothing but a number. I'm really excited to see her race today in my own backyard, Central Park.
So much fun. We're going to talk about the course in just a little bit, but let's talk about, you heard this phrase, an American in Paris. How about 3 Americans in Paris? That's what we will see coming up in the upcoming Olympics. 3 of the Americans are here today, 2 of them running. Let's get to know them.
Because the U.S. team is so hard to make, one of the benefits is when you are at the Olympics, you're one of the best in the world.
This is the first time we've gotten to see each other much in person since the trials.
There might be headlines or tweets or anything going around you, and you want to enjoy it and soak it in, but don't get too caught up in the hype and make it bigger than it is. It is just another race. Just do what you've been doing that got you to this level, and that'll keep carrying you on to compete well at the Olympics and on to the next level.
It's really amazing having a little bit more of a difficult childhood, because now I can look back and I can be really appreciative of the grit and the growth that I had to go through when I was young, and I think it helps me become a better marathoner and certainly has helped me become a better person. I'm happy to tell that story so that maybe kids out there who are going through hard times can really look at that and say, even though I'm in this hard time now, maybe someday I can get out of this.
When I was in junior high, there was a high school coach who came in and said, in this room is a future Olympian, and I'm sure a ton of kids are sitting there dreaming, but I definitely was one of them. It's certainly an honor to represent our country at the highest level.
I
I love this race. The atmosphere is always incredible. It's a bunch of women out here supporting each other, their sisters, their friends. It's always so loud. I remember at the end of the race last year, I actually couldn't even hear people coming up on me because the crowds were just so loud. And I just think it makes for a fun race, and it's a fun event.
It certainly makes me grateful for all the women who came before us and really paved the way, and thinking about how recent that history is too actually is pretty wild. And yeah, it's really exciting how far women's running has come and where it's going.
And we are looking forward to watching them take part in the 2024 Olympics and here today. Now, Emily and Dakota are running today, but Fiona is not.
Yeah, Fiona just had a really big workout last weekend and tweaked her calf just a little bit. And you know what? Everybody here, New York Road Runners and all of the athletes want her in Paris racing healthy. So they're going to play it safe and not be here today racing. But she is here cheering everyone on.
And her teammates, and this is where they were just 2 nights ago on Thursday at the Yankees-Twins game. I know you said Dakota is from Minnesota, and she's a Twins fan. We're in the NY though.
Yeah, but she was practicing and she got it right over the plate, so she was pretty pumped.
Yeah, they did a great job there, and it's kind of ironic that we're talking about Dakota and standing in front of the Dakota building right now, but they did a great job. The Yankees won the game over the Twins. We'll see how these two women fare today at the Mini 10K. So much excitement. Coming up now, Danny Beckstrom is also here, and she's going to join us along the course, talking to the man who helps put it all together. Hey, Danny.
We are getting a little congested
here in Central Park, making the 9,000 plus runners very happy. The professional women just about to jump off the start line, and I'm going to bring in the CEO of New York Road Runners, Rob Simmelcare. It is a historic race for the running community in general. Started in 1972. This is number 52. Talk about the race today and why it's so historic.
Danny, when this race started in 1972, there were 72 finishers that year. This year, we're going to have over 9,000 women finishing this race. And so that tells you a lot about the growth of women's sports. There just weren't as many women participating in sports back then. Now, of course, we see it everywhere. And so this race has been a big part of the reason why, and we're so proud to have it be here in New York.
And that empowerment is so important, especially from an early age. So I know the girls' race is also something that you guys are doing. What's the turnout for that expected to be like?
Yeah, we'll have 1,000 girls ages 8 to 18 running a mile right here in Central Park West after the adults all head into the park. And so those are the future finishers of this race, and their future leaders, their future athletes. It's a big part of why we do this at New York Road Runners.
All ages, all ranges, really fun race. And I mean, sunshine, 60s, and low humidity doesn't get much better than that. Sam, I'll send it back to you.
And we're going to keep an eye on all 9,000 runners throughout the morning. So much energy and excitement. Thank you for that, Danny. Also joining us as part of our broadcast team, Allie Feller from the Allie on the Run show. We're so excited to have her joining us. And I know you've run this, and I know you can talk about the energy and the excitement. You were telling us about it yesterday. How special is this race to you, Allie?
Oh my gosh, this race is so special to me and to so many women. As we keep saying, we are 9,000 strong today. And as I am here on people watching duty here at the finish line, what we're seeing is truly special. No one runs this race alone. People are here as part of bachelorette parties. People are here with their friends. Everyone's rolling up with people. A lot of smiles, a lot of energy. As someone who's run this race 5 times, I can tell you the first time that I ran this was all out, going for a PR. My pacer dropped me on Harlem Hills, so shout out to everyone who doesn't have to run Harlem Hills today. I ran this race 5 months pregnant with my daughter, and I ran it as my first 10K back after giving birth. So truly, everyone shows up to this with a story. The Mini is so special in that way, and we see it and we feel it. I've actually been told I needed to stop dancing because I was so excited being here. I'm a little jealous of these runners. It's a picture-perfect morning. The energy is immaculate, and I'll give it up for a women's only race. This is going to start on time. Women are in place and ready to go. There's no stragglers out here at the finish. Everyone's where they need to be. Good group of rule followers today. We're going to have some fun. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. We'll check in with you throughout the race. Allie, thank you so much. We talk about the history of this race. We go back to 1972. That started just 72 finishers in this one. That was called the Crazy Legs Mini Marathon back then. Now there's a group that they call them the Crazy Legs Runner if you have run this race 15 times or more.
And we're going to talk about the name of the Mini 10K. It's not because it's a mini distance. It's mini because of the miniskirt designed by Brit designer Mary Quant in the 1960s, sold on the fashionable King's Road in Chelsea, and it was a symbol of female empowerment. So I wonder how many Chelseas we've got running today.
That is so awesome. And now let's take a look at some of our Crazy Legs runners who will be here taking part in this and who come out every year to run this race.
Really? You want me to tell them how old I am?
We knew right from the beginning that our interview with Oleta was going to be a fun one.
Hi, I'm Ulrike Klopfer. I'm 87 years old, and this will be my 26th Crazy Legs mini marathon.
Oleta will be one of the 9,000 women in Central Park Saturday running in a race steeped in history. The first so-called Crazy Legs mini marathon took place in 1972. Crazy Legs was the name of a women's shaving gel, and mini was a reference to the miniskirt. It was the first women's-only road race in the nation and had only 72 participants. Oleta was not one of them, as she didn't start running until about a decade later.
So I went out early in the morning and walked a bit and tried to run from one street light to the next, couldn't do it, you know. So I kept going and going.
Going for 2 years until one day,
My son on the bus saw a sign, an advertisement for the Crazy Legs mini marathon, and he said, "Hey Mom, why don't you run it?" Speaking in German, he spoke German. And I said, "Are you crazy? I don't do that." He said, "You've been out there running for 2 years." No, Mom. So I signed up, and I was hooked on running races.
we asked Oleta what she remembered from her first mini 10K back in 1982.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely not.
Okay, what about her 25th mini 10K that she ran last year?
Unfortunately, I don't remember it.
What Oleta does remember, the advice she gives new runners, particularly those who want to start later in life.
It's never too late. And give it a try. You know, don't say you can't do it. This is true with everything, but don't say you can't do it. Go out and walk. Let's walk a little bit faster, you know. Try running, try jumping up and down or so, but make something of your life. Don't just sit there or lie there waiting to die.
And at age 87, Oleta has no plans to stop running as she continues to set goals for herself.
I should do more real training, what I used to do, you know. Haven't gotten to that yet. But I hope to do it some. When I start playing mahjong on my iPhone, I'm addicted. Oh my God, am I addicted?
87 years young and loving it. Don't just sit there, as she said, as we look at the Brooklyn Bridge getting ready to take you inside Central Park for the 2024 Mastercard New York Mini 10K. You will see 9,000 runners, each with their own story today, as we're getting ready to look at the start line and take a look at this course. But here they are, the runners are getting ready. We're just moments away from starting this. We talked about the impressive pro field, and this is not a staggered start, so some of the local runners will run against the pros. And let's take a look at the course, Jackie.
We're going to go straight down Central Park West, turning into the park at the Dakota Building on West 72nd Street, heading south to Columbus Circle, across the lower loop to the east side, which is when we will hit our first hill at around about the 2.5 mile mark, up to Engineers Gate, heading north to 102nd Street. We head east to west, arrive at the Three Sisters. That's going to put you in a climb for about 1.5 miles, but after that, at mile 5, it is downhill. It's going to be fast. There may be some swift moves happening there, taking us all the way through to the finish line.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fast. We talked a little earlier about the weather as we look at the start line. These women are lining up here at the start, right outside of Central Park on Central Park West before they make their move into the park, as Jackie showed you. The humidity is low, which is ideal. We talked about the event record that we had last year. Let's take a look at some of the top stories.
Yeah, obviously we have a three-peat that could happen with Simberi Teferi. This woman knows how to race. She loves racing here in New York, and I think anytime she comes here, she is ready to roll. But also, we have our U.S. Olympians, Dakota Lindworm and Emily Sisson. Emily Sisson, obviously two-time champion here. She knows how to run very fast here. But Lindworm doesn't really run the 10K very much. She's really excited to be here racing and getting some speed.
And yes, again, mentioned earlier, we have Kip Leggett continuing to endure at 44 years of old, doing it for the older ladies here. And the course today, it isn't that downhill course, but there are two hilly sections, Cat Hill and the Three Sisters, but it should still be fast. We should be looking at getting this done very quickly in around about 30 minutes or so.
Yep, and you see the women at the start, they're just shaking out their legs right now. They wrapped up the anthem. This is when the nerves set in. What are they thinking?
Well, this is one of the hardest parts of race day, right, is waiting for that gun to go off. I mentioned Emily Sisson. She is not a two-time champion. That one woman in the middle there, that's Sarah Hall. She is the two-time champion of the Mini. You know, right to the left, or of Sarah's right, it'd be left on our screen. The woman in the white hat, she was fourth at the Olympic trials. That's Jess McLean. She is someone that said she is the happiest fourth-place finisher ever. She is so thrilled to be the alternate for the U.S. Olympic marathon team. So keep an eye on her. She's really coming around. She took a break from the sport, is working full-time in a nonprofit, and now is back racing. And so lots of athletes on here. We're going to get well into the field. But yes, this is the time that they are nervous. They are thinking about what their race strategy is, thinking about the course, just getting their breath under them and getting ready to roll.
Another one to watch is Sheila Kepchiruru, and we'll keep an eye on her as well, as she has incredible speed. And there she is.
Far right of the screen.
They're receiving their final announcements right now as they're lined up, and they're getting ready for the gun to go off to run this 10K, which is 6.2 miles. Here they are on Central Park West, lined up, and let's listen as they are getting ready to start the 2024 New York Mini 10K.
Clear, be on your mark, and then the horn. Timers, are we ready? Start team, are we ready? Lead vehicle, are we ready? Athletes, are we ready? All right, y'all, have fun. Athletes, on your mark.
And they are off. You heard race director Ted Metellus with the final instructions and the start.
Kind of filing right into the middle there. You will see her, Simberi Teferi, the woman we've been talking about a lot at the top of the show here. Two-time champion, the defending champion. Right behind her, Molly Huddle is in that crowd. I mean, Emily Sisson is in the yellow up right behind Amanda Vestry. Amanda Vestry right leading in the middle there. She's having a phenomenal start to her professional career. So yeah, just so many names. But you mentioned Sheila Kepchiruru. We haven't talked about her a lot. She's on the far right of the screen. That woman is the fastest in the field. She's got a sub 30-minute personal best, and she's coming here ready to run. Never run in the U.S. before, never been to New York City. So how cool is that?
Accomplished that sub 30 in 2020. She's the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist from 2022.
So both of these two women, Simberi Teferi is the number 11 all-time half marathon runner, and Sheila Kepchiruru is number 8 on that list. They are both so fast over the half marathon distance. They don't run the 10K as much, but these two have been eyeing each other. We're looking right here at her stats. Sheila Kepchiruru, she comes from Kenya. She's been over there. She lives about an hour from Nairobi, I believe, and she has the 7th fastest ever 10K, 29:46. Now that is really going to help. You said it. 2020 though is when she ran that. So, you know, she's been doing a little bit of longer distances as of late, but when you have that kind of speed, it never really goes away.
Let's take a look at the defending champ, the two-time defending champion, Simberi Teferi.
Is she going to go for the three-peat today? She ran a personal best, which was, she ran an event record last year. That was also her 10K personal best in 30 minutes and 12 seconds. She's a 2 times Olympian at 5,000 meters.
And there is Sharon Lakady. We talked about Sharon a little bit earlier, who won the TCS New York City Marathon in 2022. That was her marathon debut, her debut at that distance. She came here a couple of years ago, was the runner-up here, and now she's 30 years young also. What are we seeing early?
Well, we're seeing a big pack, which we saw last week. Or last year, excuse me, Edna Kiplagat. We have to talk about Steady Eddie. That's what I call her. She's in every race, and she's always got to be mentioned. She's won here before. She is so good at running. She loves this sport, but you know what she's really good at? Mentally just being able to grind it out. And when you have that trait as a runner, you are always dangerous.
Emily Sisson is going to the Olympics, representing the U.S. marathon team, and she's here today as well.
Emily Sisson, a two-time Olympian now. She ran the 10,000 meters in 2016, and then she now is running here in the marathon for the U.S. in Paris. But she says she just loves this race. And when you have that energy coming into a race, you know you want to perform well.
You can hear the energy. Such a close pack here early on.
Yeah.
Molly Huddle also here.
Molly Huddle, former mini champion here in 2014. She's a 26-time U.S. champion. This woman is a mom. She has run so well over all of the distance. She's a former American record holder. Always has to be in the conversation.
10 years since her run here. Wow, that went fast. Sarah Hall is also here at 41 years young. Her 10K personal best is 31:33 right here in New York City back in 2021. She is a two-time mini champion here. We talked about her a little bit earlier.
Yep, and I love that they have her age up there. She is 41. She is classified as a marathon or a masters runner, excuse me. But Sarah Hall in the pack right there. She was 5th in the Olympic trials. And Mao Ichiyama. Mao is on her way to the Paris Olympics as well. She ran in Tokyo. She's more of a marathoner, dropping down to the 10K. But, you know, a lot of times when you see athletes like Mao, who is a marathoner, you wonder if they're going to come back next fall and run the New York City Marathon.
And we have Dakota Lindrum, 29, 10K personal best is 32:47. She's very inspirational and says that running doesn't care where you're from or what your past is, that there is a space for everyone. So I love that she's talking about inclusion in running.
Yeah, like I said, Dakota isn't known for 10K. She is so good at everything that she runs, but she calls herself a true marathoner. But you said she's been through a lot in life. She talks about that. But her mom believed in her.
Her mom believed in her. She told her that whatever you're going to do, I know that you're going to be at the top. And the top is taking her all the way to Paris in less than 50 days' time.
Yeah, and we're watching Sunbury Teferi just get after it from the gun. Last year, she sat in the pack up until about 5K, and then she threw it down. But I think she knows that Sheila is coming here ready to roll. Sheila has a little bit of speed that I think that Sunbury is thinking about, so maybe running that out of her early on.
Take a look at the personal bests here for the New York Mini 10K, and we talked about most of these runners here today, what we're looking at, but here we go as they have made the turn into Central Park, a slight incline as they make their turn into Central Park, and early on.
Yeah, we're looking at some of these athletes that are in here. Annie Frisbee, who came and ran the 4th fastest debut marathon ever when she ran here in her first marathon, and she's here on the roads of New York again, running in the 10K, which maybe is a little bit more a distance that she likes to run, besides her training partner there, Dakota Lindworm, on the left side of the screen.
And we also have some local elite pros running today who are representing many of the running clubs, including Brooklyn Track Club, Central Park Track Club, and Dashing Whippets. And what I love about the local elites being invited is that they are not only crushing it in these races, they are also crushing it in their professions. I want to call out Gabrielle Yatauro, my teammate at Brooklyn Track Club, who just placed 2nd in the Real Simple Women's Half Marathon in this park just a few weeks ago, and is also crushing her career as a medical social worker. Nice. Let's go, Gabrielle!
That's so awesome, and we talked about a little bit earlier that there wasn't the staggered start. They are lining up with the local pros lining up with the pro field.
That's so cool. I mean, a lot of times, you know, as an athlete, it was always so much fun having the masses be behind you, be able to run with you. But Time and time again, people talk about we don't get to play in the NBA, or we don't get to play in the major leagues with the baseball guys, or, you know, we don't get to play with the WNBA ladies. But in this race and in our sport, we do get to run with the pros, which is really cool.
And there are 9,000 women running this race today. 9,000 stories. For more on that, let's turn it over to our colleague, Danny Beckstrom. And here they are as they make their way into Central Park. We talked about the 9,000 runners. So excited to be here. Our Danny Beckstrom is here as well. Hey, Danny.
Thanks, Sam. Oh my gosh, the energy. It's been such a fun morning here on Central Park West. We watched the professional lineup start, and now over 9,000 everyday runners are lining up behind them, ready to give them a go as well. The New York Road Runners really prides itself on elevating women in the sport. Since this all-women's race began in 1972, again, it was the first of its kind, a real trailblazer. And since then, over 200,000 women have finished this mini 10K. It's really a testament to the New York Road Runners' commitment to empowering women in the sport. And check them out, they're ready to go. I'm really inspired to become a runner myself, right? Especially on such a beautiful day like this. So it's a proud day for the New York Road Runners. Remember, 52nd year, we started with just 72, and now we have over 9,000 runners today. Sam, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Danny, next year we're going to have 9,001 because we will see you out there running it. At the finish line, which we will watch the finish very soon as these women are making their way to the finish line. This is only 6.2 miles. Keep in mind, this is a 10K. Our Allie Feller is standing there right now with more. Hey, Allie.
Yeah, we are excited here at the finish, eagerly awaiting these first finishers, which is going to be pretty soon. This race goes by so quickly. We talk a lot about what it's like running this race. You've talked about the course, the undulating hills, the challenges throughout. We've talked about the fact that there are 9,000 women running right behind all of those pros, which is so special. What I think is so special about the Mini 10K is what we see on the sidelines. There is no race like this one where there are 9,000 women running and all of the men in the city come out to cheer them on. I so remember running this race in 2011 and being shocked by the fact that everyone on the sideline, it seems like it's all men. It's the dads, the partners, the husbands. They're out there with the kids and the dogs. And I remember it feeling so special to be out here running a race and feel really seen and celebrated. And the Mini does that like nothing else. So if you're watching this at home and you've never run an all-women's race, we'll see you next year, right? This one truly is so special. And we love all of our spectators, the men, the women, everyone who comes out and cheers. Thanks for being out there. That's what these runners get to enjoy for 6.2 miles in the park.
That is awesome. And the lead runners now making their way just beyond the 2-mile mark.
This is what I love. Dakota Lindworm says she's not a 10K runner, and now she's up there leading. This is what we've seen her do at the Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon, the Grandma's Marathon. I mean, she likes to lead. She usually has a smile on her face. Right now, she's all game face. Jess McLean right behind her. Emily Durgan, who was here last year, she was 9th last year in the 10K. Alongside, there's Dakota's smile. We saw it come out. But right to the left of her is Dakota's training partner, who I got to touch on real quick. She is Annie Frisbee. She was also here last year. She was 10th last year. So, you know, these ladies know Emily Durgan, Annie Frisbee. They know the course, but guess who's still leading? It's Simberi Teferi, who's going for the 3P.
Let's see if they can keep this speed up as they approach in a few moments Cat Hill, which is our first significant incline. There are some days where you can crush Cat Hill, there are some days where it crushes you, so let's see what they can do today.
What I find interesting is these three up front. Sharon Lokady right off the back of Chepkarui and Teferi. Those three have got to be thinking about each other. They know each other, they've raced each other here, they've broken the tape at many different events throughout the entire world, so they've been watching each other for years. But those three, I'm wondering if they are really focused on each other, because there's a number of people behind them that have credentials that could put them up in front as well. So just waiting to see what Simberi Teferi does, and here it looks like she's starting to push.
Yes, she's the event record holder. So when we see how tight they are right now. and she is the two-time defending champ. Is there more pressure on her right now?
There's a lot of pressure on her, and I think that's what she knows coming in. When you've won this race 2 different times, lots of athletes are thinking, when is she going to make the move? She knows this course better than anybody. She knows how to win here. I am a little surprised to see her pushing the pace right now. You know, she's kind of one, you talked about her kick early on. She is one to sit and kick a lot of times, Jackie, but she's going for it. And Dakota, just such a great story.
How does this...
So Dakota, she went through hardship with homelessness. And again, I mentioned earlier, her mom just believed in her from the get-go and told her she could achieve great things. Look at her pushing up Cat Hill here. So, yes, it's amazing to watch her, and it's amazing to continue to watch her smile as well.
This course is fast, we know that, but it also is very hard. One thing Sarah Hall told me, which I love, she said that there's never really a point in this course where you can't be thinking. There's always something. It's challenging, and you're always either going up, you're going down, you're making your turns, or you're thinking about the next turn. And so it is a fun course that way. It keeps everybody on their toes. They can't really just lock in. They got to attack it.
Currently on the east side of the park. The east side of the park is where we see Cat Hill, and you talked about that a little bit earlier, Jackie. How much more difficult is Cat Hill? You talked about the Three Sisters, also the Harlan Hills. So what's the difference there?
Well, I think the difference is that Cat Hill is a incline very quickly, whereas the Three Sisters, it's more gradual. So it's over the course of about 1.5 miles, whereas Cat Hill is around about a 400-meter climb. So a lot of the local running groups will do hill repeats on this segment, this 400-meter segment of Cat Hill, myself included.
Right now we're watching the left side is the lead pack here at the New York Mini 10K. You see Simberi Teferi, the two-time defending champ, out in front, but this is close.
Yeah, I love that we are watching these three women just tackle each other and try to see what they can do. Sharon Lokedi is somebody that is always, I want to say silent but violent. That's what comes to mind, right? When we saw her win the TCS New York City Marathon, she sat, and she made her final move, and it was a big one. Simberi Teferi does the same thing, although Simberi Teferi, you will see push the pace a little bit more than a Sharon Lokedi. Chep Karui, I haven't seen her run as much, so I am not as familiar with how she likes to pace herself during these races. But she is somebody that studies the sport. She is so good. She's been great on the track. One thing that I love about Chep Karui is she's been running for many, many years. She was one of the best as a youth athlete way back in 2015 when she came onto the scene. She then had a baby in 2017. She has a little girl that is 7 years old, I believe. She went away from the sport, and then she came back, and now she's just crushing it. She knows how to run the half marathon distance so well, but is also very speedy in the 10K.
Yeah, you talked about her 10K time, the fastest at 29:46. Now, in regards to Sharon Lokedi, knowing when to make that kick, knowing when to make that push. 2022, the TCS New York City Marathon, she won that. That was her marathon debut. Yeah. So when you're running a course, when you don't have the history, what's the key to knowing?
Well, I think that Sharon Lokedi just has so much confidence coming in. She knows that she can race with anyone in the world, and that is what is her real big tool in her tool belt, right? Like, she knows that she can race anybody. She's been over here in Flagstaff training. She splits time between Kenya and Flagstaff, and she's been here since Boston. Boston Marathon, she ran phenomenally. She kept her cool. She was racing against Helen O'Beary, who everyone knows here in New York City. She's won the half. She's won the marathon. She was second here last year at the Mini. So I just think that Sharon Lokedi has this quiet confidence. She comes in, she said she doesn't know if she's really quite ready yet to run a really fast 10K, but she has that strength, and she knows that she belongs up front.
How much does the experience here and the success help Simberi Teferi?
I think Simberi Teferi, that is definitely something that's almost lethal. We are looking on the right of our screen right now, Emily Durgan. Emily Durgan has raced here, like I said, last year. She ran this race. She has been powerful on the roads this year. But right behind that pack is Amanda Vestry. Amanda is a new pro. She runs for Zap Fitness, and she is young. She's only 24 years old. She is super excited. She went over to London and ran the night of 10,000. So right in your backyard again, by back home in London. and she ran very well. She ran 31:10 on the track. We'll have to see how that translates to the road, but if you can run that fast on the track, you know you're fit and you know you're ready.
Well, I guess that begs the question, is London better or is New York better? That will set the debate for her.
Yeah. So yeah, we have 4 in that lead pack right now. Sunbury Teferi, Sharon Lokedi, Sheila Chepkarui, and and that is Amanda Vestry, kind of right where she wants to be in that V. She's right tucked in. It's not quite as windy in the park, but man, when we were standing at the start line, there was some gusts out here.
Certainly was a little breeze. We talked about the low humidity. They are beyond the lead pack, beyond the 5K mark, so they are more than halfway through at this point as we're keeping our eye on the lead pack. And here's a look at the splits. Look at these times here. Sunbury Teferi, she is the 2-time defending champ with a 15:38 so far at the 5K.
About 10 seconds slower than they were last year when she set that event record. She went through in 15:28, but everybody listen to this. She went through the second half in 14:45. So that's a negative split. That's what we call it, getting faster as you go. And we know that. You know the course. That kind of leads to what the course gives you, right? Is a little bit quicker the second half.
Right. It should be interesting after the Three Sisters zone, because that is an undulating climb for about 1.5 miles, which is the most extreme of this course. I think they're coming up near Engineers Gate, which anyone who's run the TCS New York City Marathon will be very familiar with. It's the welcome respite after running up the grueling 5th Avenue mile, and I may or may not be talking from experience.
And that's when we come down the park on the TCS New York City Marathon.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, looking at Jess McLean there in that white hat. She is trying to chase, kind of keep, this is crucial for her right now. She is losing a little bit of distance along with Amanda Vestry there, but right now this is where they need to turn their brain on. A lot of coaches will say turn your brain off for the first 5K or the first half of any race, but now it's when you got to really turn your brain on and get back into your strategy and know that you have to close those gaps up.
So we are just past an Engineers Gate, or is it actually coming up? I can't really see very well on the pictures. But they're heading towards East 102nd Street Transverse. Once they cross that transverse, they will be at the Three Sisters, which is actually the name of 3 American elm trees planted by Three Sisters, and not the undulating climb for 1.5 miles. And fun fact, Emily Sisson also has 3 sisters, so hopefully she will enjoy running the Three Sisters today.
And so does Sharon Lokedi, who's in 3rd. She is the oldest sister of 4. So I mean, there's lots of sisters, there's lots of mamas out there. You know, it's so much fun. This is such a empowering race, and I just love it every single year.
They are so close right now. When we look at Sunbury Teferi, does she focus on, does she think about who's with her, who's running with her, and how much does she think about where she was last year, the year before?
Most definitely. I mean, she's thinking about all that, and maybe more so in the visualization that she does coming into the race right now. She, you know, it's hard to be thinking about all the other things, but that's the hard part about leading a race, is you're wondering what's going on behind you, and the ladies that are in 2nd, 3rd, even in 4th, are watching what Sunbury is doing. But you have to believe it. Sheila Chepkarui and Sharon Lokedi know the speed that Sunbury Teferi has. She has been in the top 10 at the Olympic Games the last 2 times over 5,000 meters. This woman knows how to race. She knows how to time her kick. So they have to be thinking too, what am I going to do to beat Sunbury Teferi? And to be honest, I think both those two need to make a move here in these final miles to try to run the kick out of her.
Is it unusual for us to be seeing Teferi up front at this stage?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, like I've said, I can contradict myself when I do these different races, because I've seen Sunbury Teferi win from the front, but I've also seen her win from sitting and kicking. She is so good. She's a master technician. She is such a good strategist, and I think that she's not in a league of her own, but she will be if she wins 3 times, you know, so that is something that she has riding on her, and she's confident with that.
If we would take a look at the current leaders, but we talked about their splits, their 5K split a little earlier. If you want to know what pace they're running right now, it comes up as a 5:02 minute per mile pace. So that's what they are running right now.
Yeah, they're right around 5 minutes per mile. It is very, very fast. It doesn't look as fast when you're watching them, but Amanda Vestry working really hard to keep them in sight, right? She has to feel the pressure of Jess McLean in 5th there. Jess McLean, like I said at the top of the show, she's the alternate for the U.S. team for the marathon. So she was 4th at our Olympic trials in her 4th marathon ever. She is someone that has been so good. She went to Stanford University, was very good, took some time away from the sport. During COVID is when she came back to it. And she found herself loving it and excited about it, started racing again, and has kind of like a second win now going into these races. She said her husband didn't know anything about the sport, and they're having so much fun. They love it. So that's Jess McLean as I'm talking, chasing Amanda Vestry here. Amanda Vestry, very new to professional running, but is crushing it. She set new PRs this year in the 5K and the 10,000 meters.
As we see the lead pack here on the left side, Jackie, you tell me, you were talking a little bit about the Three Sisters Hill, the Harlem Hills. Right prior to that, there was a little bit of a decline as well, a downhill, correct?
No, from the Three Sisters, it's undulating hills for a mile and a half. Luckily, with this race, we cut out Harlem Hills, which is very difficult.
Yes.
And we definitely wouldn't be getting those really fast finishing times. So yeah, they're in a section right now. The lead pack is in the section right now, which is the Three Sisters. So for a mile and a half, it's undulating, rolling hills. And then once they crest at around the 5 mile mark, just after, it is downhill from there pretty much through to the finish.
And that's what Carrie was talking about with the negative splits, as we can see some speed towards the end with the downhill finish.
Yeah, we're looking at these top 3 up front here. Sunbury Teferi finishing 5th at the Boston Marathon just a month or so ago. Sheila Chepkarui finishing 6th in the London Marathon. Then Sharon Lokedi finishing 2nd at the Boston Marathon. All 3 of these women coming off of 26.2. Now, it's a little different nowadays with the shoe technology, and we're not going to get too far into that, but they are recovering faster. This is what we see with Sharon Lokedi. This is when she's starting to set herself up for a kick, and you can see her. She's starting to chomp at the bit a little bit, right? She's on the shoulder of Sunbury Teferi, and I do think we're going to see her start to push. I think she's going to move around. I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm feeling.
I think that she wants to win this.
Oh, for sure she does, but I think she's trying to figure out, how am I going to run this kick out of Sunbury Teferi?
Right. Teferi, who holds the event record in this event at 30:12 back in 2023, just last year. We talked about the 52-year history of this event, of this race, and it's Sunbury Teferi, who is the 2-time defending champ with the event record.
Yeah, just over 5 minutes of running right now, and this is gonna get fast real soon. They've been slowly grinding, trying to get through those hills, and now, as you said, that last mile is one of our fastest. It is a little bit of a downhill. You're gonna see them stretch out. Here they go through mile 5 right there at 25:09 roughly, and they are starting to stretch out. This is where they can really get their speed going, because those little downhills is where they're going to start to feel good, right? They've been climbing. Now they can let it out. Little distance on Sheila Chepkarui right there. This is make or break for her. She needs to either get back on it. She really has to stay mentally tough right here.
At this moment, are we waiting for one to make their move?
Right now, I believe that Sunbury Teferi is thinking about what she did last year. She sat. She had that final little burst. That when you have the final 300 meters, I believe you make a final turn. And it's a soft turn, but it's enough to really get going. And I'm sure she remembers that. I'm sure she watched the race to remember that. But Sharon Lokedi has to hold on right here and really try to power through these final stages of this race to see if she can hold on. Sharon Lokedi is very good over 10K. She's very fast. She also is an NCAA champion. She went to Kansas and won there. But, you know, now she's become more of a half marathoner and a marathon. We're seeing a little distance here with Sunbury Teferi, though. 3-time she could be. 3-time, and also she is the defending champion. That is fueling her right now. Every little bit of this course She's thinking, I want to be that woman to break the tape, and she definitely is putting on distance here. She's got about 3 minutes left of running. She knows she can do that. This woman is a woman of faith. We see her celebrate her faith every time she finishes races. She is someone that loves to run, loves to compete. She races a lot in the U.S., so people are starting to know her. They are cheering for her on the sidelines, and now she has really decided to put the pressure on.
Opening up, that is incredible.
We talk about making the move, and now we see it as she's going for the three-peat here. 5.5 miles have been completed right now. 6.2 for the 10K distance here, as Semberi Teferi going for her third consecutive finish here in New York City.
And that event record last year from her was 30 minutes and 12 seconds.
So Semberi Teferi, she has the fastest 10K on U.S. soil. That means nobody has ever run a faster 10K than this woman here that is going for the three-peat here at the Mini. And I just love it. She is a world championship medalist. She's been to 2 Olympic Games. She is one of the fastest that we will ever see in the history. And she has put on so much distance. Sharon Lokedi is an amazing runner herself. We have a half of a mile left to go in this race.
Look at that distance. Wow.
This woman has run under 1 hour and 6 minutes for the half marathon 4 times. She's run under 2:20 for the marathon. She is one of the best ever, and we get to see her going for the 3rd time to crack this tape. 5th at the Olympic Games, 6th at the Olympic Games, World Championship silver medalist. She's also great over the cross-country courses. That is something that helps when you're in New York City, being able to handle the hills, handle the turns, handles everybody screaming in your face. It gets loud here towards the finish line. Semberi Teferi, one that we hope to see again run. Last year she had a little bit of trouble in the marathon, but anytime she comes to New York, she ups her game. She loves what the New York Roadrunners does for her career, and it is really exciting to see her go for it again.
And all alone right now, as we were watching, under half mile, about 0.2 miles to go here, as Semberi Teferi is going for her 3rd consecutive New York Mini 10K championship.
For someone that knows Semberi Teferi, she's been good at the 1,500 meters. She's run 14:15 for 5K. On the track, she's run 30:40. And now she is going for another win here at the Mastercard Mini. Lokedi in 2nd place, trying to charge really hard there. Sheila Chepkarui, Amanda Vestry, Jessica McLean, all of those in the top 5. But here comes Semberi Teferi.
0.1 miles to go. Semberi Teferi. Here she is, all alone. Just crossed the 6-mile mark. The thoughts right now, as she knows she's alone and she's about to cross the finish line, but let's take a look and let's watch her. As she is in the heart of Central Park, she has the finish line within her sights. Semberi Teferi, the event record holder last year at 30:12. She's a silver medalist from the Commonwealth Games. 200 meters to go, and here she makes that final turn. Semberi Teferi from Ethiopia. You can hear the crowd as she makes her way to the finish line. The cameras are out, and here she comes. Semberi Teferi, your New York Mini 10K championship.
And there she is with her celebration dance, which she does every year. Fiona O'Keefe, the U.S. Olympic Marathon Trials champion, going to Paris. She held that breaking tape, but here comes Sharon Lokedi in 2nd. Sharon Lokedi holding on. She said she wasn't quite race sharp, but she's here. Sheila Chepkarui making her debut in the U.S. in the Mini. She's finishing in 3rd, along with, I believe that was Amanda Vestry. Yes, 4th, first American.
And that is the podium. You see Semberi Teferi taking it all in, finishing first, her 3rd consecutive Mastercard New York Mini 10K Championship. Sharon Lacady is third, and Sheila finishing third. Sharon Lacady second.
Amanda Vestry in fourth. Jessica McLean in fifth. Here comes Emily Durgan and Annie Frisbee. And there's Dakota Lindworm with that famous smile. She's got to be very excited. Sub 32 minutes in marathon training. She's going to the Paris Olympic Games. And here is Emily Sisson coming up along with Emma Grace Hurley.
Emily is Dakota's teammate on the U.S. Olympic Marathon team.
And there's Sarah Hall rounding out, I believe that is our top 10. Susanna Sullivan there as well, having a great race. So our top 3 are our international athletes, and then 4 through 10 are the American athletes. I believe a couple new PBs out there for some of the athletes today, but what a powerful race by Sunbury Teferi. You know, she sat and sat, really timed out that finish and just put on that final kick, which you talked about early on there, Jackie. That's really becoming her MO over 10,000 meters.
She opened up such a wide gap at that 5 mile.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we were wondering when she was going to make that kick. When were we going to see her go? And we did see it, and wow, that was impressive.
Well, when something, you know, when it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Like she did this last year. She sat until about 400 meters, and she really did. And here's our podium, our top 3.
So Sunbury Teferi 30:47 for her third consecutive New York Mini 10K finish. Last year we talked about the event record in 30:12. So there she is, Sharon Lacady. She finishes second, 31:04, and Sheila Chepkaruri finishes third. You talked about her incredible speed, and she was hanging with them for such a long time. They're finishing third here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I love how athletes come to this race. You know, they're either coming from the track where they're super sharp. They might have come from the World Cross Country Championships. They might be coming from the marathons. But this is just this great melting pot of all these different types of athletes that are so great. And not just up front, right? We have all these athletes that are in the masses there that are just from different sports or different areas in life, or we have 87-year-olds that are running again for, you know, whatever many times. It's just so much fun. This race is so great. And kind of a, you know, another thing is the New York Roadrunners is just such a family affair, and everyone loves coming and running all their races.
I think there was a, on the podcast, at the Pace podcast, there was an interview with one of the Crazy Legs, and she said she comes every year with her family. They make it a family affair. She's in her 80s.
So let's take a look at the results for the professional women. As you just saw right here, the excitement as Sunbury Teferi does it again. Not one, not two, the three-peat for her, finishing at 30:47. Sharon Lacady, we saw she was a runner-up. She was a runner-up this year as well. A fantastic race. She ran 31:04. And Sheila, with her incredible speed, she has a fast 10K under 30 minutes today. She finishes third, 31:09. And then you see, we talked about the American women that we saw at the U.S. Olympic trials, and we see them with strong finishes today.
Yeah, give it up to Amanda Vestry. As I said, new pro. She's just making her way through. And Jess McLean, I mean, just kind of showing up in every distance. She's run very well on the track as well this year, going to go to the Olympic trials. But here are our top 3. Sunbury Teferi 3 times in a row. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
We love her finish line celebration and those smiles, and that says it all.
Yeah, Sharon Lacady always coming to New York and just showing up. I mean, this woman she's won the New York City Marathon, then she was second. It's just awesome. But now I think that we've seen Chepkaruri here at the 10K. I think we're going to maybe see her in other races. She's going to love it here in New York City. I hope she gets to see the city afterwards.
Let's take a look once again. This is the finish of Sunbury Teferi, doing it a third time here in New York City. The three-peat. And there's that celebration.
Like I said, we are watching a superstar in the making. She has been so good for so long, but continues to do great things. Sunbury Teferi, remember her name, and hopefully we see her in many more New York Roadrunner races.
We talked about the leaders, we talked about the finishers, we talked about the podium. 9,000 9,000 women taking part today. There are so many stories, and you see them making their way down Central Park West as they make their way into the park. We talked about the crazy leg runners, some women running this for more than 15 years in a row, some walking it. This is an event for, look at the excitement here.
And we just celebrated Global Running Day, which again is a celebration of running and the fact that it is inclusive. There's a spot for everybody here. So it's great to see so many women out running today.
We talked about the podium, and we talked about the three-peat for Semberi Teferi. That's where Ali Feller is now, and she has more. Hey, Ali.
A little drip drop trickle of runners.
I am here with our three-time champion, Semberi Teferi. Congratulations, Semberi. You came back, you won it again. Tell us about the race today.
We're looking at these folks now. They are working too hard. They're amazing, blazing to the finish. I can't even tell you, but I bet that was a PR. That was a strong finish. Look at these ladies coming in.
The race was great. I was able to lead from the start to the finish, and God help me, I'm very thankful.
We're seeing runners in minis.
Yeah, we saw that moment. The three of you were running together for so long, and then you made that big move.
Right, of course, the race was named.
How did you know it was time to make the move? Walk us through it.
When this race was founded in 1972. And Dana, you are so all the way. Know what I'm doing.
Cheer for this athlete. Yes.
I was looking at the time the whole time. My main goal was to win, and I was pretty confident that even if they had stayed with me till the end, that I have a better finishing kick.
It's a special moment. I remember
That confidence is key, and it absolutely paid off. And Mary, congratulations. Always great having you here in New York. Thank you so much.
All right, here comes another one of our athletes. Bring her home.
And I'm also very thankful to you all.
Thank you.
Now, the Mini was my very first 10K that I ever ran back in 2007. It holds a very special place in my heart and the hearts of all these athletes coming on in dashing whippets.
Thank you so much, Ali. And you heard Semberi Teferi say, I was looking the time the whole time, but I knew I had a better finishing kick, and that's the kick that you were talking about.
Welcome on into
Exactly, and just the confidence from her is really something that we can all draw from.
As we look at the top three of the professional women, the results here. Also, there is the girls race coming up a little bit later, and a youth ambassador here, our Danny Beckstrom, has more.
Sam, okay, we know that over 9,000 professional and everyday runners are already off to the races, but we're here still at West 90th and Central Park West because the girls run about to line up. We're talking girls from 2 to 18 ready for the girls race. So to give us the first-hand perspective, we're bringing in New York Road Runners Youth Ambassador Eva, who's about to run this race. Eva, thank you so much for being with us. First, I want to know, what do you love about running?
Well, you know, running, you have something to run for, you have a purpose. When you're running, you stop thinking and just you take in all the view, especially if you're running like right now. These beautiful cities and all these people around cheering you on, words of encouragement. It's a really nice experience.
Okay, so I'm about to scream my head off as I watch you run by because I know you're getting ready for this race. So you're 15, you just finished your freshman year, you're also a basketball player, so dual sport athlete. How do you think running makes your life better? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel healthier?
Well, you know, when I'm really stressed and I go for a run, it really like clears up my head and makes me think straight.
Okay, so I want to know, what are you thinking when you're running? She was telling me earlier she doesn't listen to music because she's running too fast and her AirPods fall out. So what's going through your mind?
Well, normally I just look at the people on the side, probably just like take their time out and just stand here and just cheer us on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So you're a pro. She's been running for about a year and a half. This is her 10th-ish race. How would you encourage other young girls or maybe some older young ladies who are wanting to get into running but maybe think it's a little tough and they're not the right fit for it? How would you encourage them?
Well, running, everyone could do it. You could just start slow and just pace on. You don't have to compare yourself to pro runners.
Yeah.
Just like every day, just walking to work, just, you know, pretend you're late and then just run.
Those are some wise words from a 15-year-old, and I'm going to take that advice. Eva, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck to you. I know she's got to go line up here, so we are going to toss it back to you, and I'm going to be cheering you on.
King's finishing as well. All right, runners with smiles at the finish. I love that. You know what? Even if I've had to turn.
I am here at the finish line with our top American today, Amanda Vestry. Huge race for you, fresh off a personal best on the track in London just a few weeks ago. Walk us through what just happened out there.
Yeah, I think I was just talking to Chris Chavez, and I was saying that there was a moment in time after 5K where I decided, okay, you either have to suffer right now and go ahead with those top 3 women, or, you know, hold yourself a little bit more together and composed with the chase pack. And I just decided to go for it and suffer. So, yeah, I did suffer a lot at the end, but it was worth it. So it was a great race.
All right, tell us about that suffering. Legs, lungs, mind, what was going on?
I think, if anything, it was more mind and lungs burning a little bit at the end. Just because when you're out there and you start losing contact with like the top 3, you're like, well, did I make a mistake going with them? Am I going to have enough in the tank? But, you know, the crowd got me through it, and I just kept thinking, like, you know, keep going forward and try to get to the finish. So, yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, you did just that. Can you give us some of the sights and sounds? I've been here at the finish, and I'm super jealous that you got to run the race. What was it like out there? How were the crowds? What did the field feel like? Give us the sights and sounds of this year's Mini 10K.
A lot of signs saying, you go, girl. You got this. A lot of encouraging affirmations, which was really great at the end of the race. And I've never been a part of a race that's a women's only event, so it was really cool. All
right, what's next for you?
Sorry. The Olympic trials and the 10K. Gonna try to make the team there, and yeah, this was a good stepping stone.
Absolutely, and hopefully a good confidence boost headed into those trials. Amanda, huge race for you today. Congratulations.
All right, team.
Carrie, Sam, Jackie, back to you.
For running with
Thank you so much, Allie. And the excitement at the finish line, what is the energy like? You know, you see that right there. She's there with a front row seat to that. But let's take a look at some of the highlights, and let's talk a little bit about what we saw today. Jackie, you were talking a little bit earlier when we opened the show about the kick.
I mean, that kick is absolutely amazing. You must have so much confidence as a runner. Teferi was so patient. She had a very strong strategy. The KD was up on her shoulder. It didn't throw her off. She knew that she was coming to win today.
And we talked a little bit about the American women. Yeah. We have 3 that are going to the Paris Olympics, but we did see a strong showing here in the top 10 and in the top 20 today.
We really did. I mean, Amanda Vestry, you got to give it up to her. Like I said many times on the show, this is one of her first big races as a pro, and she just keeps nailing it every time she comes out. She's going to be running the trials here in a few weeks. But yes, I mean, even let's talk about Dakota Lindworm. I mean, she says she's a marathoner, but she was one of our top today, top Americans, top finishers overall. She's got that strength, but also her speed is coming around. I think she has a really big breakthrough coming in the marathon. Yes, she made the team, which she's a little surprised about, but I really think that there's some good things coming, and we saw it today. When you can run that well over 10,000 or 10K and then go to the marathon, look out.
And we saw the smile on her face.
Oh, yeah.
You know who else
Always.
is smiling? The girls. We have the kids race with the youth race that is coming up, and we're going to take a look about that. Danny was speaking with the youth ambassador. More than 1,000 girls running the race after the women's race today. So let's learn more about that now.
Hi, my name is Kia Copeland. I am 29 years old, and this will be my second 10K Mini.
She's a native New Yorker, a mother, an NYPD officer, and an avid runner.
I like running, and I feel like everyone should like running. So I just like telling people like it's good for you, and it just makes you feel good when you're done.
Running really did change Kia's life. Back in 2011, when she was a junior in high school, she joined the New York Roadrunners' first Run for the Future class.
It was hard at first because when you run, what they did was like, oh, just run from this pole to that pole. Then when you get to that pole, they're like, okay, there's just one more pole, just one more tree, just pass this person. And then it doesn't make it seem like it's that fun.
As Kia ran more and more, her confidence confidence grew more and more. She joined her high school cross country team and walked on to the VCU cross country and track teams. Fast forward a decade, and Kia is an officer in the 20th precinct on the Upper West Side. She's also the mother of 2 young daughters.
I do want them to start running, so I mean, they see me run all the time, so hopefully that inspires them to start running, and I hope when they get old enough they can run the 10K Mini with me.
For now, though, Kia's plan to savor this weekend's race, one that will have thousands of women on the course.
I love that feeling, all women running all together. It wasn't like competitive how it is usually when you run a race. It was more like, oh, I have to help her. Like she's like my sister, she's my mom, she's my grandma. I want to run. We want to run together. So that makes it really special for it to be an all-women's race.
I love that, and that's how it all begins with the youth race, just getting out there running a mile today for them, but just little by little, and we've heard it throughout the broadcast. Hey, run from tree to tree, just get it going, and just keep going, keep moving, and then that love for running develops.
And then you hang out afterwards, and everyone is chatting and having fun. It's so cool.
I just think even the kids out today watching what's happening, if you can see it, you can be it. So it's very encouraging and inspiring.
If you can see it, you can be it. This is the 52nd running of the Mini 10K, and it was an exciting finish as we saw the pros out there, and for the 3rd time as they started this race, there go the pros, and we saw the leaders right from the start.
Yeah, Sunbury Teferi took it out right away, kind of took it out pretty hard, then settled back in with Sharon Lokedi there right on her shoulder. It really wasn't until they got into the park where we saw this back and forth, and we saw a little bit of jostling with who was up in that lead pack and who wasn't. You got to give it up to those 3, though. Sheila Chepkurui, who was 3rd, Sharon Lokedi, who was 2nd, and Sunbury Teferi. They really were the ones that dictated this race. But Amanda Vestry, I really liked how she raced today. She was gutsy. She said in that race, this post-race interview with Allie, that there was moments where she didn't know if she should go, and she went for it. She's young, she's new, she's fresh. This is here in New York City where we need to meet new names, and we need to hear new names. We're going to hear Amanda Vestry from here on out. But Sunbury Teferi, that's the woman we got to praise today.
We will continue hearing her name as she does the 3-peat. She wins it for the 3rd time here. And let's take a look at the results as we take a look at the podium finishers here. And Sunbury Teferi, 3 years in a row. Sharon Lokedi finishing 2nd.
Yeah, Sharon Lokedi always loves to come to New York City. She brought her mom all the way from Kenya here last year to watch her in the marathon, and hopefully we'll see her back soon.
We saw a thrilling finish here today as we were watching. You just saw the highlights. Your final thoughts on the race today?
Well, I just won an excellent day. Brilliant day to be in New York. Really well organized, fantastic weather, and some real standout performances. I'm very inspired by all the women racing today.
Carrie, what's your big takeaway from today?
9,000 women are out here racing. Right. You know, people that have raced tons of times and some that are racing for the first time, and I just love it. Every time I'm done with this broadcast, I got to go for a run because I'm so jazzed. So congratulations to everyone. It was an honor to be here again today.
You know, we talk about the podium finishers, we talk about the 3-peat for Sunbury Teferi, but the 9,000 finishers. And when you think back about the history of this race, there were 72 finishers in the inaugural race in 1972, and that was just weeks before Title IX was passed. So wow. Congratulations to the 9,000 finishers, and congratulations to the podium finishers. We thank you for everyone for helping put this together. Thank you to the New York Roadrunners, to WABC, our broadcast partners, and everyone here today. The 9,000 women running today, we congratulate you. We celebrate you. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Congratulations for the 3-peat for Carrie Tollefson and Jackie Moore. I'm Sam Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
That was Sunbury Teferi, who holds the course record